So now, how does Dr. Sebi cure these diseases? He select from the forest the plants that are going to resonate with you and bring you to a higher level than that of spirituality. He's going to connect you with life. And now you're not going to make the mistake that you may have made in the spiritual vernacular. Because when I go to spiritual people's houses and I watch what they be eating, I don't want to be that. So we got to take it to a higher level, right? Of course we do, because we are in pain.
Dr. Sebi's voice was always loud, clear, and unapologetic. He warned the world of a conspiracy far worse than anyone could imagine. The very medicines people trust are part of a scheme designed to keep them sick. Dr. Sebi believed it wasn't just about health. It was about control, profit, and power. And for those who thought he was just another voice, he had a message. This is worse than he thought. Born Alfredo Bowman, Dr. Sebi became a controversial figure for claiming to have natural cures for some of the world's deadliest diseases: HIV, AIDS, cancer, diabetes. Yet why was he silenced? Why were his discoveries, if true, hidden away from the masses? Dr. Sebi pointed his finger directly at the pharmaceutical industry, accusing them of suppressing his findings to keep people dependent on their drugs.
He made vitamin C out of acerola berry. What? Well, guess what he did in Boston? And you guys don't know it, and it's dangerous. The man went to the ocean and got a piece of sea moss, because he knows that sea moss grows in the ocean where the sea is in constant motion. Sea moss doesn't grow where the sea stands still. It has to be in motion.
He always believed in nature's ability to heal. According to Dr. Sebi, diseases thrive in an acidic environment. The solution is an alkaline state. Through a strict plant-based diet and his African biomineral balance compounds, Dr. Sebi claimed that health could be restored. But it wasn't just the diet. It was about ridding the body of mucus, which he considered the root of all illness. His followers, many of whom had seen results, hung on to his every word.
When I met Dr. Sebi, I heard him say he cured AIDS. How he cured AIDS? He removed the mucus from the system and built the body back up. But they say, what? It's virus. No, never been. It's mucus.
Pharmaceutical drugs are a band-aid at best, merely treating symptoms. But at worst, they made things worse. Dr. Sebi knew those drugs could lead to addiction and could destroy lives. And the corporations? They didn't care, as long as the profits kept rolling in. Dr. Sebi offered his herbal remedies as an alternative. He claimed his compounds were safer, more effective, and could actually address the root cause of disease. Yet mainstream medicine was quick to label him a fraud, dismissing his treatments as pseudoscience.
What happened to the human body when one ingests glucose for over 500 years? Do you have any idea as to what glucose does to the central nerve system? It upsets the whole biochemical structure. The neurochemical messages are confused because glucose is very acid. So when we receive these messages and notices and information that Dr. Sebi, people have difficulty in believing what you say you can do. See, I can understand. After all, we were fed the substance that would help us to look the other way.
Despite his efforts, Dr. Sebi faced harsh legal battles. They came after him for practicing medicine without a license and for consumer fraud. The courts tried to silence him, but it only made his followers believe even more deeply that he was onto something big, something dangerous to the establishment. Mainstream professionals could call it pseudoscience all they wanted, but Sebi's followers saw him as a whistleblower, exposing a system that profited from illness rather than wellness. As we look at the world today, the stories surrounding Dr. Sebi seem to echo louder than ever. Nipsey Hussle, a man who was working on a documentary to highlight Sebi's natural healing methods, was taken from us too soon. Was it just a coincidence or something more? Nipsey once said, "Why are holistic doctors being killed?" Dr. Sebi's teachings about the power of natural remedies, the healing properties of herbs, have raised more than a few eyebrows. Dr. Sebi believed there was a larger force at play, a conspiracy to suppress natural medicine. Pharmaceutical companies, massive medical syndicates, and institutions that profit from sickness, not health. For years, people have questioned why those who speak of holistic health seem to disappear. Dr. Sebi himself, arrested, detained, and gone too soon. But it doesn't stop there. The medical world has been taken over by pharmaceuticals, sidelining ancient practices that focused on healing the body as a whole. The rise of these pharmaceutical companies wasn't just about advancing medicine, it was about profit. Dr. Sebi said it himself, "This isn't about helping the people, it's about controlling them." Look at how they influence what doctors are taught, pushing pills instead of prevention. Look at how they suppress natural cures because there's no money to be made from plants. The rise of these powerful drug companies didn't just push natural healers to the side, it silenced them. Dr. Sebi had to fight for every inch, every truth he wanted to share about how to heal the body naturally. And yet, even today, people are waking up to what he said. They're realizing that the pharmaceutical industry doesn't hold all the answers, that there's more to health than just managing symptoms.
Myself naturally.
Well, for one, you begin by abstaining from the foods or group food that you've been ingesting, allowing the body to release all of what it has accumulated over the years, such as I know someone that eat pork all their life. Now I saw him just recently, Gustavo, and he's fat. So he had to fast. So he's fasting and taking the compounds. The cells regenerate. The cells heal themselves by allowing oxygen. See, what you do is to fast to allow oxygen to enter those various organs, to reach them via your arteries with the blood. The nasal passages have to be clear because oxygen is the real food. It's the fuel of the body. Deprive of that for 2 minutes, you will not live to tell the story.
Dr. Sebi believed that real healing comes from nature, from the earth itself. He said that diseases, including diabetes, cancer, and others, are reversible with the right diet and herbs. But the medical system doesn't want us to know this. They want us to keep coming back, relying on pills, while the root cause of the illness remains untouched. The conspiracy isn't just a theory, it's a system built to control what we know and how we heal. Dr. Sebi's voice is one that challenges that control. His death may have silenced him, but his teachings live on. For Dr. Sebi, the real cause of sickness wasn't bacteria or viruses. It was something much simpler, yet far more dangerous: mucus and acidity. According to him, disease thrives in an acidic body. And what's the first thing we're fed when we're sick? Pills that only increase that acidity. He asked a question we all need to ponder. Why does the industry push drugs that only address the symptoms and not the root cause? Dr. Sebi believed that the answer was obvious: money. The pharmaceutical companies thrive off of people's illness, not their health. This is why he dedicated his life to promoting an alternative: natural remedies. Through his research, Dr. Sebi developed what he called the African biomineral balance. This wasn't just about taking herbs. It was a way of life, a way to restore balance to our bodies. He taught that the key to health is in the food we eat and the lifestyle we follow. No animal products, no processed foods, and definitely no microwave use. He believed microwaves killed food, stripping it of its life-giving properties. Dr. Sebi's remedies like Irish sea moss and bladderwrack became famous for their ability to detoxify the body. He claimed they could cure even the deadliest of diseases, from HIV, AIDS to cancer. People flocked to him, desperate for answers, desperate for healing. But Dr. Sebi didn't just sell remedies, he sold hope. Yet not everyone agreed. Critics dismissed his claims as unfounded, even dangerous. They said there was no scientific evidence to support his cures. But Dr. Sebi wasn't fazed. He knew that his methods worked because he saw the results firsthand. He argued that by maintaining an alkaline diet filled with natural plant-based foods, we could stop sickness before it even starts. This was his mission, to keep us healthy in a world that profits from our pain.
There is another important factor included in blood health, which is oxygen. Hemoglobin in red blood cells contain iron and oxygen. In addition to herbs that contain iron, these are also some herbs that contain oxygen.
And how I thought about this was with the aid of my wife. She said, you always say that oxygen is a cell proliferant. I said, yes. Oxygen is the real food. You could eat the best food in the world, and I hold your nose and your mouth for 2 minutes, what happens? You're dead. Telling us that the cells need what? Oxygen. The more of it you get, the more alive you are.
That's it.
You said, okay. And the next one, which is the substance that electrifies the system and removes inflammation? Iron fluoride. So I went to Africa. I got the Cancansa. I went to Honduras. I got the guaco. I went to Mexico. I got the lily of the valley, which is nothing but iron. And I got all these iron herbs, and I put them together along with the herb that has what? Oxygen. And if you believe that herb does not trap oxygen, well, you got another guest coming. When I come back to New York, I'm going to bring the herb, and I will put it in a glass of water. And as the herb goes down, you will see oxygen coming from the herb. There is another herb that has oxygen. It's the marula. It has so much oxygen that it owns the water.
He pointed out how an industry built to heal be more interested in profits than cures. Drug companies, he said, weren't focused on eradicating diseases like cancer or HIV/AIDS. No, they were focused on managing symptoms so that patients stayed dependent on medications for life. For Dr. Sebi, this was not only wrong, but a betrayal of human life. People were suffering, yet real cures remained out of reach, hidden behind corporate walls. But why? Everybody knew the answer but didn't want to admit it. It was money, profit over people. Dr. Sebi believed that real healing didn't come from a bottle of pills but from nature, plants, herbs, the foods we eat. His own remedies, he claimed, could cure diseases that modern medicine couldn't: HIV/AIDS, cancer, diabetes. He said he had answers that the pharmaceutical industry didn't want you to know. Yet, it wasn't long before Dr. Sebi found himself in a courtroom, charged with practicing medicine without a license in 1987. The accusations were severe, but Dr. Sebi didn't back down. The state couldn't prove that he had diagnosed any patients. He was acquitted, but the legal challenges didn't stop there. Later, the New York Attorney General came after him for consumer fraud, slapping him with fines and forbidding him from making certain health claims. They tried to silence him, but Dr. Sebi's voice kept rising. Then, in Honduras, he was imprisoned on charges related to money laundering. He never got out. Many say there was more to that story, that forces beyond the courtroom played a role in his final days. Whatever the truth, it felt like the world had lost a rebel who dared to challenge the system. Despite the legal battles, despite the mainstream medical community labeling him a fraud or quack, people believed in him. He was no ordinary healer. Critics scoffed at his alkaline diet, claiming that the human body regulates pH on its own. But Dr. Sebi's followers knew better. They trusted him. And those high-priced supplements? To them, they were more than just remedies. They were hope. Some called him a witch doctor. It's a derogatory term meant to discredit everything he stood for. But Dr. Sebi kept warning us again and again. The pharmaceutical world was hiding the real cure. And the question that haunted everyone after was simple. Were we ready to listen? Well, that's it for today. For now, make sure that you like our video, subscribe to the channel to get updated, and do not forget to hit the bell icon to never miss an update. Thanks for watching the video. See you at the next one. Stay healthy.